How many times have you been asked to draw something for a friend, for a parent, for a family member? How many times has someone peered over your shoulder while you scrawl something in your sketchbook, or look at your canvas or your finished painting on the wall, and immediately suggest that you do something for them? In the best of scenarios, perhaps they offer you money, they offer to pay you for your time and for your services. And yet, when you work on things for yourself, especially if you work on things for yourself alone, sometimes you get concerned looks. People look at you strangely or call you selfish. But selfishness in art is terribly underrated, I think. You started creating for yourself. No, true, one cannot be selfish all of the time. That would probably lead to some detrimental things, but art is innately selfish. You got into art because something excited you, and you decided to put time into exploring those things because of that excitement. Perhaps it was a video game, a TV show, a favorite toy that pulled you in initially. But whatever it was your own selfish desires to explore and to enjoy yourself that pulled you through and brought you back to the medium time and time again. And here's the thing. It's okay to make things for yourself with no distinct purpose beyond the joy. There's no problem with just loving the satisfaction of the scritchy scratch on the paper, of watching things come out of your head and onto that surface. There's nothing wrong with working on your art for yourself. Your desire to create is valid, it is important, and it is, perhaps, necessary. Welcome to the sketchbook session today. I'm continuing to work on some things from Inktober. This one's rather fun. This is Celestial. And as you see it unfolding, you can tell our little girl Andorra is dreaming. And she's dreaming about the creation of her universe. And this drawing is selfish. Now, you could make a case that I decided to do the Inktober drawings because it's publicity of some kind, right? I'm putting them on Instagram, I'm putting them on YouTube, but is that really true? Or is that the entirety of the truth? Is that enough to pull me through the 60, 70, 80 hours of work that it might take to do all of these, all of the research, all of the typing things out, the creating of spreadsheets because I'm me and I love spreadsheets? The practice drawings, the sketching, the resources, the references, and then the final executions, and now the editing of video content to put that together. Could you really say that that was all done just for that altruistic purpose, or even maybe just to make some money at some point? Well, no, of course not. There's something selfish in the representing of these stories that exist in my mind. I get joy out of it. I get joy out of recording things like this. I have a smile on my face as I look at my drawings, watching this little girl, partially inspired by my daughter, coming to life in these cool stories. So she's watching this scene unfold, and you'll look at this God, this creator being that is rather strange with his many, many hands and eyes. And I did that on purpose when I created the deity because I feel like a god is far more intriguing in a fantasy environment if they are not entirely able to be understood by mortals. So the only features that he is ever described as having are eyes and hands, and many of both. Do you ever think about these kinds of things, though, with your drawings? That spending time as an adult might be seen as a selfish act, putting time into something that we allow kids to do, but we generally frown upon adults doing in some way, which is silly to me. What it seems to be, perhaps, is that it's play. When we have children, when we have kids, when we are kids ourselves and we are drawing or we're allowing them to work on their drawings, it's play. Their job at that point in life is to play, to learn, to explore their world. And we frown upon this, at least in the United States, a little bit as people get older. Play is looked down upon. Now, I still have a hard time understanding why watching football is not considered play, but playing a video game is considered play. Maybe it's there in the name. Maybe it's just our societal norms. I don't know. Both of them feel like playing to me. If you're watching a TV show or football and nerding out with all your buddies about the stats, that's still gaming. It's playing, and that's okay. And that's the thing, that's the point here, is that we don't play enough as adults. And sometimes this is because life is difficult. We need to pay bills. We need to make sure everything is taken care of. But if we disengage from the entirety of our childhood, the entirety of our inner child, we are losing something natural, something that is native to us. Often what others regard as play is looked down upon with condescension. It's called childish, or it's disregarded as inappropriate for the grade level. And this does happen sometimes. There are situations where, you know what, you probably should be playing with your kid instead of playing video games. But the idea that video games or fantasy novels or art are by their nature bad or negative is just so narrow-minded. We as humans need play, and art for many of us, probably for you listening, is an act of play. It is an act of us exploring our world and understanding more about ourselves and our place in it. We're playing with ideas, or perhaps we're just playing with the ink as it slides across the page. And there's nothing wrong with this. There might be some of you that are listening right now, even me, I feel like there's this grandpa inside my consciousness that is going, you're talking about a lot of childish things here, Sonny, and you should probably look into that. But no, many of the most beautiful things that we ever get to deal with, that we ever get to experience in our life, are play. For me right now, I have a 4.5-year-old, and one of the most amazing things is getting the chance to rediscover all of these things that I loved as a child. She's now learning how to play with Legos. She's learning how to play with trains. She loves being outside. She loves the snow, although she never wants to come in, and so sometimes I have to haul in a crying, yelling 4-year-old because she doesn't seem to process the fact that she's getting cold. But all of those things are things that I enjoyed as a kid, including the cold thing. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful return to the play of youth. And we need this. And so if you are an artist, if you are a creative person who feels like sometimes you have to justify your artwork, why you want to do it, why you need to do it, understand that it's engaging with a piece of what it is to be human, a piece of what it is to have been a child. And maybe that's one of the unique things about artists in general, is that we are holding on to some pieces of our youth, some pieces of what it means to be a child far longer than others. And that might be why people get so much joy out of our art, by looking at the things we make, because if you are an adult who has lost a large portion of what it means to be a child, you are probably unconsciously looking for and seeking that. You're probably trying to find that, because for most of us, the least stressful parts of our life were our childhood. Not everyone. I was a teacher for 11 years. I know full well that not everyone has a great childhood. But for most people, the average human being, our childhood was the least stressful part of our life. And so it seems reasonable that we try to reclaim that in some capacity as we get older. Isn't that what we see in retirement? I mean, retirement is not really an ancient idea. It's not something that our forefathers necessarily did, but we do it now. And I would wager that psychologically part of that is, I miss having all the free time I did when I was a kid. I worked till I was 65. Now I can actually take a break and do what I want, which is childish. Now, retirees would probably hear that and be like, that's not true. I worked really hard. I earned this. It's like, that's true. You did earn this. That doesn't change that what you want is basically the same thing that a child wants, or what you wanted when you were a child. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. If you have managed to work hard enough to be able to retire at 55, 60, 65, and then you get to spend the last years of your life just enjoying existence, being a productive member of society, and loving on your family, is there any better way to end your life on this earth? So if you tend towards feeling guilty for all the time that you put into your artwork, or guilty for putting time into artwork that is deeply personal or just isn't for anyone else, I would encourage you to think long and hard about what that contributes to your peace of mind and to your joy. Because you know what? Your peace and your joy are worth something tremendous. They are valid and they are important and they're worth putting time into. And even if you want to look at it in a more selfless way, the more time you put into your creative impulses, the better person you're going to be for those around you. So if you struggle, you're a parent who really wants to put time into your artwork and you just trying to balance that with your kid, understand that, yes, you need to put time into your child. They obviously need to eat, they need your love and affection, but they will probably grow up better and you will probably be a better parent if you put the time into your artwork. If you are a child, if you are in middle school, high school, or even college at this point, which maybe that doesn't make you a child, but I'm old, putting time into art, if that is where you are drawn, is going to be better for you than not. It is okay to be selfish. It is okay to engage in things that we have called play over the eons, and especially here in the United States, where we push productivity over basically everything. Mental health is just not that valuable to the United States in general, which is so tragic because mental health is just as valid as your physical bodily health, if not more so with how we've done things in the last 100 years. So, dear artist, be selfish. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you put time into your art if you are drawn to it. You will be happier. You will be a better person. It's okay. Maybe selfish is not even the right word. Maybe it's just the word that we have right now, and we need to work on our terrible English vocabulary, which of course is 100% true, and we do need to work on. Put time into play. There's nothing wrong with play. There's nothing wrong with approaching certain things as a child would. Childhood is a beautiful thing. It's one of the benefits to having kids around, is they remind you that there is a simpler way to look at the world. And usually through that lens, the world is a more beautiful place. So don't turn away from playing, and don't turn away from being a little bit selfish with your artwork. Well, as always, thank you for listening. I had a new microphone this time, so I hope the quality has improved, and if it hasn't, I'm sorry. I will continue working on it. Have a good one, y'all. See you soon.